Intuitive guidance to inspire your life is an inspirational hour that'll take you on an epic metaphysical journey to discover the spiritual approach to life's greatest challenges. Dr. Jenn Royster is an internationally known intuitive counselor, spiritual teacher, and energy healer. Imagine having the ability to use your innate positive energy to dissolve the stuckness in your life, whether it's emotional, physical, or spiritual, through this incredible dynamic show. Get ready to be transformed from Dr. Jenn's live guided healing meditations and intuitive readings, and unveil the power of connecting to spirit, the angels, and your higher self. Dr. Jenn is passionate about helping you find the answers you're looking for through an inward journey that'll strengthen your connection to spirit and help you trust your intuition. Now, here's your host, Dr. Jenn Royster.
Hello everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Dr. Jenn, and today we're going to talk about Neptune. Neptune enters retrograde in Pisces, which is the ruling sign for Neptune, and this is all about spiritual awakening, spirituality, beliefs, dreams, illusions, maybe even some rose-colored glasses where we might not be seeing things for the reality that they are. This is all what Neptune is about. With Pisces, that's going to be more heightened. So it was a great topic to really elaborate on today for today's show. And first of all, I want to say hello, guys. Totally unexpected to not be here last week. This is happening frequently, I know, but we have been in the very severe storm patterns we're in the path. It's just that time of year. It's hurricane season where I am, but it hasn't even been the hurricanes yet. We have two where we have some we're watching some patterns, but it's been the very, very severe storms across the South, and we have our hearts going out to those that are going through that. My son, he was without power for several days last week, so in Texas, so that's just what's going on. So we've had a lot. We've had to have repairs done. We've had power going out. It's been hit miss. We have them coming in this afternoon again. So if I'm intermittent, that's why, because we don't know, we don't expect it, it happens. It reminds me of what the universe has been telling all of us. It's time to be in the now and go with the flow. We can have a plan, but that may or may not play out the way you expect. So I just keep plugging along, take a deep breath. There's nothing to control with something like that. I do want everyone to do what they got to do out there to be safe, and I hope everyone is okay through some of these intense storms. And it seems like no matter where you live, we're going through some weird stuff. So with that said, we're all okay here today. We're here. We're glad to be here. And let's talk about this Neptune. Neptune's interesting. It really is. It's also about intuition. So when Neptune and Pisces are together like this, and this going into retrograde is kind of interesting. We sometimes see a retrograde as, oh no, but with this one, it's actually pretty good. But we have to be ready for truths to be coming out on that. So Neptune being the ruler of intuition, spirituality, creativity, the arts, your dreams, even fantasy. It can sometimes be fantasy or illusion, like, we have dreams and we have things and passions that we want to bring into our life. And that's absolutely with taking action. That's not the same thing as what I'm talking about with an illusion. It appears to be one thing and then not so much. And that's what the retrograde can do for us when it goes into this retrograde here. Because when Neptune is moving direct, it somewhat kind of clouds sometimes our judgment. It can not cloud the judgment, but be a little bit more foggy. We're not clearly seeing things the way they really truly are. But when it goes retrograde, that veil comes down, and now we see things more clearly. And this is going to happen on June 30, and it will be in retrograde until December 6th. So this second half of the year, for the next few months, we'll be able to see things for what they really are. And sometimes we're going, oh no, what does that mean? Sometimes we don't want to face a reality that we know is probably there. And sometimes we're so glad to know what's really going on now. We don't want to be feeling like we have to avoid truth here. That's running, that's fear, that's 3D. We want to live 5D, where we're not afraid of the future. We're not lingering and hanging on to the past and the pains. We want to live in a 5D vibration. So this is going to help us out. It can be a very good reminder that this whole energy is a really good reminder that the outside world is not where you're going to find your answers for you personally. They're not even me giving them to you. We have people that help us and guide. I'm not even trying to say that. I'm trying to say this is a reminder that your outside world is not where you're going to find your answers. You want to go inside for that clarity, the clarity that's right for you. This is when we will be practicing intuition. You want to trust that. I have been talking about that for years. I have. That's just, I've always believed that one thing out of many different things that, you know, sometimes we shift and change as we grow in our spirituality. But I know for a fact that my passion is for you to believe in yourself, for you to trust what's right for you, not what's right for me, but what's right for you, or not what's right for what everybody thinks you should do, what's right for you. Do you want to be able to trust that? We all have that. But we sometimes just don't believe that ours is okay and we can trust it. And I just feel that people should have that opportunity to give their own personal truths, opportunity to be heard. And you're the one that would want to hear that, not somebody else's. So this one is interesting. This is how this will go. It will also be a good little tip here is to reflect back. This will kind of bring us back to events or activities or what was happening for you personally back in December of 22, right around the first week or so, around that first part of December. If you can recall, here we go, journaling again. It keeps taking us back so we can go, wait, what was happening in the first week of December? That's what you want to look at. If you can recall maybe something that was going on for you, that will give you a little hint as to what you might be working on personally. Now, all of this doesn't mean, oh no, it just means let's get real and see some honest to goodness truths about what's going on. So we're all feeling it a little bit in one way or the other. Now, it's very unexpected out there with all kinds of stuff going on. I know this is where we want to live in our moment. We want to listen to that intuition on what we need to do right here and right now. There's times where I can't figure it out for nothing when I'm in my mindset. And then I just have to stop and go to that center that I was telling you guys about, the middle, the space between. And then I go, okay, I got to go back to my space between. That's where I connect the best with intuition, my soul, my inner voice. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. Whenever it just feels like nothing is working, well, that's the way your mind's seeing it. And that is what we see. Come back to that center and see if something else pops up. Another idea, a different path, a different direction. That's your intuition when you listen to and see what it tells you. I can't tell you how many times that's, as soon as I remember to do that, now we all go back and forth. It's normal. We have a mind. We have a mind that likes to be in the middle of everything. And the more we practice this, the more the mind works with the soul and intuition, which is really going to be the path you want to follow. So here's a couple of questions you can ask yourself personally just to see, is there anything, and this is, like I said, this is going to be coming in on June 30, but is there anything going on that you need to maybe look at that you might have been looking at through the rose-colored glasses kind of thing? Now, I'm all about positive and optimism. And here's what's different between that space between and your mind. You can go, okay, stop thinking that, let me think positive, and you're telling it, and it's a mind thing, and it sometimes can be limited, but if you go to the space and you go, you know what, possibilities are unlimited, it's a completely different experience. I know. This is just something, if you put that intention out there, you will find your path to it. I know you will. It might be a completely different way. You might hear it worded a different way than what I'm saying. I just want it for you. I really do. Now here's another one. Another question to ask yourself. Do I feel any creative blocks anywhere? Am I trying to design, create? Am I trying to come up with some kind of new whatever? Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's redecorating a room or doing a masterpiece or writing a book, whatever it might, whatever it is you're trying to do, plan your garden out, redesign something, come up with something new. That's creativity energy. You don't have to be an artist to have creativity. Everybody has creativity. That's your ideas. Did you feel any blocks there? Do you feel like it's been stuck? Okay? And that might come up for you. And here's an interesting one that I feel like we're seeing all over the place. How do you feel about your spiritual journey so far? How do you feel it's going? Do you feel that things from maybe a decade or two ago aren't fitting anymore? Do you feel like you've changed your beliefs in some areas? We all are doing it. We're all discovering something new. And here's the thing. It might have been something that was truly the belief for you in 3D, but as we're all moving into this 5D environment, it doesn't work anymore. We have to update it. There might be things that, and I'm, even for myself, over my entire life, there's been a lot of things I used to believe that I changed on a lot because it didn't fit anymore. It didn't work. I'm not even going to go into what that was. Everybody's got their own path with that. You want to find what's working for you. 5D is going to be settling into that. And it is churning away and making whatever was working in 3D that's not going to work for you. Some things will, but some things will no, that's not going to work anymore. We're going to have to change that. You're going to have to work with that. There's a flexibility with shifting on that. So are you rethinking any areas in your life? Absolutely okay to do that. I asked the angels about that. And Michael absolutely loved the question. And he was, when I said, a lot of people feel hesitant to rethink or question beliefs that they had or that they grew up with or any of that. And they feel like, oh, hey, I don't know about that. You don't want to be afraid to find out the truth. You don't want to be afraid of that. You don't want to be afraid to ask the questions you need to ask. You don't have to project them everywhere, and you don't have to make somebody else believe what you do. But you want to know what's right for you. And they absolutely welcome that. If your intuition's kicking in and your psychic abilities and your connection with angels and spirit guides, or you're starting to feel this, whoa, I don't know, my beliefs don't really work with that. Sometimes the fear kicks in because we feel like we're doing something wrong. I understand that. I felt that a long time ago, mainly when I was younger, way younger. And it's like there's nothing to be afraid of. In fact, you want to know that you can ask for that validation, is this real for me? Is this right? And if it's right for you and not for somebody else, that's the thing. Let it be like that. We don't have to force anything. There's nothing to control. Believe it or not, there's nothing to control. It's going with the flow, sort of thing, with this spirituality thing I'm talking about here. So, do you trust your intuition? That's another question. Do you actually trust it, or do you second guess it? What about when it comes to life choices that are right for you? Do you constantly hesitate, or you need validation from somewhere else? You're like, I don't know, I'm thinking maybe. The insecurity of trusting and believing that you're hearing it. And I get that. That's something that I want each and every one of you to find your way through. And it's just a path we all go through. I went through it too. We all do. Like you're second guessing and you've been told by others that that's wrong. And it's like, no, it's not for me. So, I just said, you know what? And when I leaned into it, when I embraced what was different, yeah, it becomes completely different experience. You may not have the same relationships anymore. You may not have a lot of things the way they were. But that's what we're going through so many shifts in so many different ways, and everybody's feeling it in different ways. So you can't compare what you might be going through with someone else feeling like, well, I haven't done enough, or I haven't done it. You have to be good to yourself, and you have to look at what you have accomplished. And then you pick it up right there, and you keep moving forward, and you make progress in your time, in your way. Gosh, I want that for all of you so much. Because I know what it's like to feel like that, and I don't want that for anybody. If I had anything to try to tell humanity, it would be that. You want to believe in yourself, because everybody is special. Everybody has something. Everybody has it. And it doesn't have to be grandiose. It doesn't have to fit into a certain mold. It has to fit for you. Absolutely. So, here's the affirmation that I wrote for today. I am continually evolving into a better version of my true self. I really like that one. My intuition holds all the answers I seek. This one's good. This one is one that I would want to use all the time. But I really liked this one for this particular topic. So, let me see here. Let's go through some of this detail now, so we can understand this Neptune thing. And Michael is with us, Archangel Michael. Michael says that a lot of times this fear of the unknown is the biggest catalyst with some of this stuff. Sometimes we're just afraid to know the truth. We don't want to be afraid of the truth. The truth, sets you free kind of thing. You don't want to be afraid of truth. You don't want to be afraid of tomorrow if you don't really know how it's going to play out. You do what you can do in your now, because that's where you have all the power, and you live life to the fullest each and every single day. So that's what, he reminded me of that to share with you. So I get a lot of stuff that I'm going to share from the angels before we come on the air. So some of that was like, and he was like, and don't forget this, and don't forget. I know, sometimes he's like, we have this relationship, and so it's like, I know. We have fun back and forth. He's like a best friend. For me, he's a best friend for anybody. All the angels are, really. You don't ever have to feel like you're by yourself. They'll let you know, and so will your own intuition. They like it when we want to connect with that, and they support that very much. So let's go into some of the nooks and crannies of Neptune so we can understand it a little bit better. So Neptune, like I said, is it's also the ruler of water. It's the spirituality, creativity, illusion, also the deceits, the dreams, art, entertainment, mind-altering substances. Whoa, what's that all about? Yeah, this one has, everything has a shadow side too, so we're going to go over both sides of that. Intuition, all of those things are under Neptune. When Neptune energy is strong, moving forward, like in direct is what they call it in astrology, that's when it can cast this veil or this cloudiness. Sometimes you can feel like confused if you've had like a lot of like confusion or fogginess or just not clear thinking. That's what that is. When according to Neptune in astrology, it does this because it wants us to look and remind us that that external world, that outside world, is not where we want to find answers. It's not an internal world. It reminds you of that continually. Now that's when it's going direct, okay? When the outside world is confusing, Neptune is continually reminding us, go back inside. Your inside world is where you're going to find your answers. So that, if anything, get that message out of this, because and Michael's like, yes. He keeps, I know. He's very high energy today, I'm noticing, so I feel like that too, because I feel like they just flow through. Now let's talk about Neptune in retrograde. So when Neptune's in retrograde, that's when all that fogginess clears. There's no more confusion And we are literally going to be confronted with the truth, or we're going to see it. That's the part that sometimes people are afraid to see. That's what we want to look at here. So illusions, if you had an illusion that you were, like maybe just something you thought was real, all of a sudden you realize or you find out it's not, things like that can be exposed. Things that you thought were real or the truth, now you find out, oh, well, that wasn't at all what I thought it was. That's what happens with retrograde with Neptune, okay? We want to know what those are, though. That's important. We don't want to keep being led into the blind without knowing what's going on. You don't want that. You want to be aware. You want to wake up with that. The retrograde can reveal these things. So it might even be something you didn't want to see, and that's what I mean about the fear. This is where Michael coming in very, very strong. He does not want anybody to be afraid of what they need to see for their own self. And what we were going to see for a collective, we need to be able to stand up and see what's really going on. And he wants everyone to know that he is there. Just ask. If you feel that you need some support, they're there. We don't want to be afraid of that. So now when I say all this, that doesn't mean, oh no, it's going to be horrible. It's just being honest and truthful about things instead of pretending it's something else. I see it sometimes, you don't want to pretend to be something you're not, basically, I guess. I mean, you want to be, you want to find out what's really going on with the world, what's going on with others, if you were believing in something that just wasn't real, things like that. And it's what's right for you, truly what's right for you. Now, sometimes Neptune can kind of, some people go in and avoid and bypass, they want to avoid. That's where you're, some of those mind altering, and you just want to get away, you just want to escape. That's not really facing truth, that's escaping truth. So it brings things like up that we need to wake up to, that we need to just go head to head with and go, you know what, I want to live happy, I want to live in a 5D world, I want to live better, I want to be that better version of myself. Enough's enough, let's see what we got to do. And that's the encouragement that the angels have strongly given me, for me personally, and to share with you. So I can see that. It's like sometimes you're like, oh, I don't know. But to me, I feel like moving forward, this is going to help us more than anything. So now, another part of it, we're talking about that first week in December. It reflects us back to a cycle that might have us look at what events were going on in that first week of December last year of 22. That's going to be a really good clue. You want to see if there's anything there that might be giving you a healthy dose of reality, so to speak. What might be coming up for you? What's happening for you? It's also a ruling sign in Pisces. So Pisces being that deepest, that fullest expression of spirituality and that connection of creativity and arts and psychic abilities and all of these things. Pisces being with Neptune, very much escalated, very much. So you're looking for any of these things on a personal level that might have been happening in that first week of December-ish. Like right in that area, right in that time zone is what you're looking at. If you don't recall it, don't worry about it. Just go with your flow in your now, because what it's saying is if something had started to come up and then it kind of went out and maybe it never got resolved, or you're like, I don't know, and now it's popping up again, there probably will be more information coming through for you to help you with that. It could be clarity on which way to go. There's lots of positives here. There's also this just being honest with ourselves. Like, what are we doing here? So, some of the things you might experience, and that's what we'll go through now, is let's look at the creative side of it. Anything blocking in that creative world. Imagination, dreams. Sometimes the Neptune retrograde can create a bit of a creative block, but that's because it's an effort to rebirth the vision that you may have. It's to improve on it. It might be where you might have felt held back or stuck in certain projects you were trying to get off the ground. There's new inspirations that may come through, ideas that will take what you're working on to another level. So it's to your benefit. It's to just, if it feels like, well, wait, I wanted to go this way. And it might be feeling like it's like not letting you go. And you're like, no, but I'm ready. There's something we need to see. There's something we need to learn or know about. Take that intention, and that, if you took that perspective, like, okay, what do I need to learn here so I can make it better? It's going to be a lot easier, and it will just flow through. It might be that you need to take a break from what you've been working on so hard, because you need to look at the logistics. You might need to look at, okay, there's a better way. I might need to get a plan restructured a little bit. This happens all the time, guys. We feel like, gosh, I don't know how many times I've restarted something over and over. You have this intention, you have this plan, and then it just takes this other path as you go along the journey. That doesn't mean it was a bad plan. It just means maybe it's not time, or maybe it needs a little tweak. Maybe it needs another tweak and another tweak. It just happens. It's happening to me too. What about second guessing your spiritual journey, or rethinking it? Like, how am I on this? How do I feel? And Neptune being that planet of spirituality. So if it's traveling in retrograde, you're rethinking your beliefs. You're second guessing whether you believe that anymore or not. I've had that, all kinds of stuff. Is that still holding true to you? So those are some of the things that may come up. Not all of these will come up for everyone. You may have very minor things, or you might feel one more than the other. But these are Neptune things that may come up. You might find you're leaning toward different perspectives, different ways of being, ways of living. You might find that you feel very drawn to learning something differently or growing in another direction. Listen to that intuition. It will never fail you. It's the path for you. If you feel like you've been spiritually bypassing things, it might bring that to the surface so you can deal with that. Like, what am I spiritually bypassing? What am I avoiding here? It might be easy to minimize it, or, feel like you're being the bigger person, but what if you need to really look at some things that are important to you? What if it's just not feeling settling? You'll know, your soul gives you this sense of, and that's how I navigate. Now, I can only share what I know and feel, but there's a sense of peace. If something's been like, yeah, okay, I'm feeling this little nudge of exploring or learning or growing or shifting or second guessing something, when I find the peace and the settling and the peace of mind, all of that just completely dissipates. I know that I navigated the way I needed to with my soul alignment. So it'll just stay there and stay there and stay there until I'm back in there. And then it's like, okay, we're all good. And it kind of just keeps guiding me as I go. And so with that, I have this sense of peace that comes over me, to where I don't have to, it's not constantly occupying or distracting me, or constantly on my mind, or thinking about it all night, things like that. I find that, I don't need to worry about it. I'm on where I need to be. There's nothing to be concerned about. Just keep going with the flow in your moment, in your now. So that right there takes a lot of the stress and pressure of needing to know every little detail about how it's going to work out in the future, or how you're going to plan it. Because sometimes there is just, you can plan all day long and it's still not going to go that way. And if you're very structured and you have to know how it's going to play out, that's where it can cause so much fear and stress of the future. More and more, I'm noticing that we have to pull back from that a little bit more. We can have a plan, we can be responsible, but we also have to be able to flex and adjust as we're going along. That's been big for us personally, for us here, and for me especially. I've just been feeling like you got to just navigate and go with it. And I'm sharing that with you because that just took so much of the stress off of trying to figure it all out. You don't need to figure it all out. You just need to do your very best on each day and not be hard on yourself, because life happens here a lot. So another part of it would be, it's good to reflect on the situation if you feel some hesitation or something feels off. Sometimes it just feels off. Like, what is that I'm picking up here? You know, things like that, just listen to it. Make sure, are we just feeding the ego here, or is this really truly good for me and I'm contributing or whatever, you know? I constantly question that sometimes because I'm very passionate about everybody finding, you know, that connection. And, you know, I had to overcome just worrying about how, you know, money would flow in or whatever, and just let it be doing my passion, and then let the universe figure that part out. I mean, I put things out there and I get hesitations, I get disruptions, I have electrical storms, I have powder out, you name it. It's like, well, no, stay in the flow. Just stay in the flow. And just know that you're doing what you do, and I'm being as honest as I can be of what I know. So that's just me sharing with you personally. So what about unconditional love? Are we going to learn anything about that? We can feel like we have unconditional love, and then something comes up and we find that, hey, that's a little harder there. So what about your relationships and unconditional love? So, wow. In spite of it, you know, sometimes that can be a bump. Love is a very spiritual practice when it's practiced with this in mind. Going through boundaries, you know, recognizing that we all deserve love. We all deserve to give and receive it. Not allowing yourself to be taken advantage of is a part of that. You can't, you want to watch out. You want to make sure you're loving, you know, your own health and your well-being unconditionally as well. So it's a little bit of both ways. So if you feel like things like that might be coming up for you, just embrace and learn and grow. Find your awareness in that. The reality check. Okay. So when Neptune is going direct, it can be the planet of escape, fantasy, illusion. Okay, so when it goes retrograde, remember, it's, you know, oh, wait, what's the truth? So if, you know, for example, it's very healthy to take breaks and get your mind off things. Absolutely. That's Neptune energy. When I say that, it's not a bad thing. For example, you worked really hard all day and now you're going to sit down and enjoy a good movie or read a great book. Get your mind off, you take a break. That's Neptune energy if you had to describe it. These are all great places to be, but we have to come back and face things too, right? You might take that break and you get your mind off things, and then you got to go back and you got to take care of things, right? So Neptune energy, when it goes rings, we might have to just see things for the truth that they are, and you don't want blinders on. You don't want something to be putting an illusion or a blinder on you. And sometimes deceitfulness or things that, you know, you were believing or you thought were being truthful, you find out may not be. That's on your own. That's to your best interest. You want to know those things. So lots of stuff like that might be popping up. It can also, you know, bring that all up to light so that we see the things that are truthful for us. So a few things you could journal, maybe. And just a reminder, I asked a few questions at the beginning, but let's think about what you could reflect on during this Neptune thing. If you have anything coming up, you could reflect on a situation, certain challenges. Now, what specific factors do you feel like you were ignoring that now you know you might need to like look at again? Things like that, decision making, actions. What about blocks you might have been facing in the creative process? And how can you find a way to open that up? Allowing your intuition to lead you in decisions. You can align with your soul by going to that center. Don't let that mind overthink, get you all afraid of the future, and you're stuck on something that happened in the past. You can't get past it. You want to be right here, right now, in this blank space that's brand new. The now actually is a clean slate all the time. It's always this blank slate and clarity of this is where you create something new moving forward. So bringing yourself there to that space in between, that's what I talk about all the time, is the best way to get out of that mindset that's just taking you in this loop, getting all wound up about something that's not getting you anywhere. You're just going in circles. To go back into this where you can do something about it. It's very much, we hear law of attraction, and the word attraction is like we've got to bring it and pull it to us. But what if you just went to the space and automatically the universe is really ready to bring a lot to you? If we go to that space, it just comes in. There's no trying to make anything happen. You're just allowing it. It's allowing. I love that. It's allowing. So what would inspire you moving forward? That would be a great list to make if you want to think about it. What could you do to better your weekly schedule, so to speak? So with that, that's what I have for you. So let me go and say hello to everyone that is in the chat. Hello, guys. We see Donna, Connectory, Miss Sasha, hello, and Kelly. Yes, we are safe. Thank you. We're safe. We've just got storms coming through. I mean, we're just in that path. Is everybody else okay? I've seen a lot of people going through a lot of that kind of stuff. It's interesting out there. There's just all kinds of stuff going on everywhere. But we don't live in fear with it. We just do what we can to be ready. We batten down the hatches. We had two baby nests. We had birds, we had two nests. One of them, all the babies are hatched, and the mom and dad are taking care of them, and they're just adorable. It's like three little babies. They had 3 eggs, they had 3 babies. Everybody looks good. We're leaving them alone. They're in the middle of a bougainvillea bush, which has thorns almost 1.5 inches long. So they were smart. They got in there and they're nice and tight. We are still waiting and watching our mourning doves. They have 2 eggs in the nest, but they put that inside of a window inside the hurricane shutter. We have these hurricane shutters that pull together and close. They're like accordion shut, and they're open, most of the time, and you just shut them when you need to. But they've got that nest down in there, so we're like, okay, hang in there. And we've had some doozy storms, and we're out making sure, and they're still in there, and they just, I guess they figured it out where to put it. And nothing I can do. I have to just leave them alone. If we try to move it, they'll abandon them, and we don't want that. So we're letting nature take care of them, and we're just making sure, they're still there, because it's just so awesome for us. And we love nature, so we're still waiting on those guys. They should be here any day now. I hope. And just waiting, because we have storms we're watching in the Atlantic, and don't know how that's going to go. So here we go, right? So hello to Missouri. Hello. So guys, I won't stay here very long today because of our situation here. We have some more storms coming in this afternoon. The lightning has been pretty dangerous here. That's been our biggest thing. We don't want all this going on while all that's happening. And they've been sometimes early as 10, 11 in the morning, and sometimes later in the day. And then they'll say, oh, it's coming at 1. And then it doesn't, it comes at 2. We are just going with the flow here. So I wanted to let you guys know what was going on with this energy, because it's such a big deal. Now, next week is the holiday week for the Next week's the holiday week for the 4th. It's like right at the end of the month. That's also, I may or may not be here because of the storm. The second system out there in the Atlantic, I don't know what's going on with that. That's going to be right about that time. So we will probably more than likely be a couple of weeks before we're back. And I just wanted to let everybody know up front because that looks more like that. But, you know, I could be surprised and then I'm here. That's why I put it out on Wednesday. I put the newsletter out on Wednesday because it's like, let's just wait and see what's going to happen. So it will come to you in your email box if you're on my list, if we're going to be here. So that's just how it works. So we're just going to go with the flow. I wish each and every one of you a beautiful and blessed day, a blessed life. I want everyone to know that no matter where you are, no matter what you have going on or what you might be working and processing through, you have all the support in the world with angels. You have all the support in the world with the universe. We just have to go into that space and allow it in. And if you feel that it's getting bumpy, there's probably a resistance somewhere that you want to look at. There's probably some sort of resistance, and you don't sometimes see it very clearly. If you feel like that, that would be a good thing to see if you can find some answers to when this Neptune goes retrograde, when you can see more clearly what's really going on. Is this a bumpy resist? Am I resisting something? I always look for stuff like that. If I feel like I'm trying so hard, it's just, why am I just not getting anywhere with something? That's what I do. I look like, well, what is there somewhere I'm resisting or I need to shift that? And usually you can find something because, you know, we're all human. We're all working this out. This is all very, very new energy to live in a 5D experience where there's so many things that we have just had for years that we know, that our mind knows. See, if you think about it that way, that helps too. Our mind knows 3D more than it knows 5D. It hasn't had 5D for very long. As we implement new ways, the mind will start to work with that more. The more we work with that, the more we try to hold on to the way it was or try to recreate that, that's probably where you might feel a bomb. And you can tell, you know, because the first thing you do, and you can tell when you're in your mind. Or you can tell whether you're in your mind trying to figure it out or with your intuition in your blank space. That's how you can tell, because it keeps trying to do what you've already done and it doesn't work, or you're just going and getting anxiety about it. That's the mind doing that, because that's all it knows. We have to go to that blank space, create something new. And so a great way to practice that is, as soon as you find that you're doing that in the mind, just go, here I go. I don't want to, this is just not working. Let's go to the middle. Just go to the center. Just, you know, and I know that sounds like, how did I go to the center? Just keep going to the center. Just go to the blank space. Focus on blank space. Focus your center, your core. That's where your intuition is. Just, you know, it's taking whether you feel happy or sad out of the equation. It's taking all of it out of the equation and just going to this neutral place of, the chaos has stopped. Yay. Whatever that is for you, that's what you're looking for. Everybody will find their way to do that. Sometimes you can go for a walk and just kind of do that. Sometimes you can just go sit in nature. Nature for me is the easiest way to do it. That's why I like to be outside so much. You have an activity. Painting does it for me. Oh my gosh, painting does it for me all the time. And so I'm finding that I need to get into that more lately because of all this new stuff coming through. It's important, you know, it's important because it's an expression of my soul. So your expression of your soul could be whatever it is you love to do. You know, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be a creative art thing like that. It could be anything. So just think about it that way. There's no straight way to do this. It's about just knowing that your intuition is what you want to be listening to right now. It really is. You want to trust your intuition. Your angels will remind you, your intuition, go back to the center. If you struggle with it, just say, hey, I'm trying to figure this out. It does not matter. All of the angels are available. It doesn't matter which one you ask. None of that, all those little details are just what we think we need to have, all these rules about how to approach a connection with a higher dimension, with the angelic realm, with our own soul. It isn't like that. That's the mind thinking, well, yeah, I got to go like this, you got to do that, you got to do this. No, you don't. You just have to allow it. And it's like, what do you mean allow it? How do you do that? Well, there is no doing. It's being. Human being, not human doing, right? I know. I'm not the original one that thought of that. But I just, and I don't remember who it was. But it's a being, just being and allowing. It simplifies everything to the point where, gosh, you realize how hard you were working and not making any progress. And you just stop trying so hard and you start allowing. And now the doors fly open and life starts to happen. The universe can bring it to you. So I'm going to leave you with that because I'm liking that a lot for all of you and for myself. So I have to go check on some baby birds. I have to go check on my fur baby. Emmy is doing okay. She's getting older and she's wasn't doing very well last week either. So we had a little bit of a scare with her, but she's good. Yeah, she's 13. She'll be 14 in October. And she bounced right back. She got a little head cold there, but she's staying out of the heat, obviously, but she's doing well. So we are just going with the flow here, living life, appreciating each other, appreciating all that we have. And I highly recommend you just look at life and how you can live your life to the fullest each and every single day, each and every single moment, and let the universe bring it to you. So I love you guys. And I will see you next time here on the Jenn Royster Show. Namaste.
You've been listening to the Jenn Royster Show, intuitive guidance to inspire your life. Dr. Jenn Royster is an internationally known intuitive counselor, spiritual teacher, and energy healer. Imagine having the ability to use your innate positive energy to dissolve the stuckness in your life, whether it's emotional, physical, or spiritual, through this incredible dynamic show. If you've missed any part of this show or any other show, visit www.jennroyster.com.